In the final years of World War II, as Germany teetered on the brink of collapse, civilians back home were surviving on as little as 1,000 calories a day, often just watery soup, ersatz coffee, and meager rations of bread. Food was so scarce that people risked their lives foraging for scraps. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, in American prisoner of war camps, captured Wehrmacht soldiers, men who had fought fiercely for the Third Reich, were about to witness something unimaginable. American GIs throwing away half-eaten meals, fresh bread, and perfectly good food. This is the untold story of how abundance shattered the worldview of thousands of German POWs. The dire situation in Germany by late 1944 and into 1945. The Allied bombing campaigns and blockades had crippled Germany's food supply. Official rations for civilians dropped to around 1,000 to 1,500 calories per day, far below what's needed for survival. Bread was often made with sawdust fillers, meat was a rare luxury, and vegetables were scarce. Children suffered from malnutrition, and stories of people eating pets or wallpaper paste were not uncommon. Soldiers on the front lines fared little better. With supplies dwindling as the war turned against them, captured German soldiers expected the worst when taken prisoner by the Americans. Revenge, starvation, perhaps even worse, based on Nazi propaganda portraying the U.S. as a decadent but impoverished nation plagued by Depression-era poverty. Arrival in American POW camps between 1943 and 1945. Over 400,000 German prisoners, many from Rommel's Africa Corps and later from the Western Front, were shipped to the United States. Camps dotted the countryside, from the hot fields of the South to the Midwest. Under the Geneva Convention, these POWs were entitled to the same rations as American base troops. Upon arrival, many POWs were thin and exhausted from battle and captivity in Europe. They braced for hardship. Instead, they were led to mess halls where the aroma of real coffee, bacon, eggs, and fresh bread filled the air. The moment of shock, seeing food thrown away. One of the most astonishing sights for these captured soldiers wasn't just the quantity of food, it was the waste. American GIs, accustomed to plenty even with home front rationing, often left food uneaten. Half a sandwich, a slice of fresh white bread, or untouched portions would be discarded without a second thought. Accounts from POWs recall moments like this. A young Wehrmacht soldier staring as a GI tossed away a perfectly good apple core with meat still on it. Or bread crusts hitting the trash. In Germany, we would fight over crumbs like that, one POW reportedly said. Another recounted asking if the leftovers were saved for later, only to learn they were simply thrown out. This wasn't cruelty. It was normal for Americans. U.S. troops received around 4,000 calories a day in garrison settings. Meat, dairy, fruits, and sweets that Germans hadn't seen in years. POWs ate the same. Steak, ice cream on occasion, even Coca-Cola. Many gained weight in captivity, with one famous quote from a POW. "When I was captured, I weighed 128 pounds. After 2 years in America, I weighed 185, so fat you couldn't see my eyes anymore." POW reactions and psychological impact. The shock was profound. Nazi propaganda had painted America as a land of unemployment and racial chaos, not abundance. Seeing GIs waste food while knowing their families back home starve challenged everything they believed. Some POWs smuggled leftovers to save. Others begged guards for extras to send home, though impossible. This experience contributed to a quiet ideological shift. Many POWs returned to Germany after the war as part of re-education programs, carrying stories of American plenty that helped shape post-war views. It highlighted the failure of the Nazi regime to provide for its people, contrasting sharply with the Allies' resources. Historical context and legacy. while German civilians suffered severe shortages post-war, until the 1948 currency reform and aid. The POWs in America had glimpsed a different world. This story reminds us of the human side of war, how something as basic as food revealed the vast disparities between the warring nations. The U.S. treatment of POWs. Adhering strictly to the Geneva Convention not only saved lives, but served as soft power, influencing thousands. What do you think these POWs felt in that moment of disbelief? Share in the comments. Like and subscribe for more untold World War II stories. Sources include POW memoirs, U.S. Army records, and historical accounts from the National Archives.